what could be your Fab Five? How could having actual concentrated effort on five only, because we do so many things and it's a lot sometimes, and we're not actually making meaningful impact. We're kind of jumping around it, and that's the nature of the beast sometimes, but I like this idea.
Yep.
Well, too, it's okay for one of them just to be a to-do and one be another major, because at the end of the day, I know we all like, golly, I didn't do this, and this. It's okay, roll it over to tomorrow, because these can be small wins and this be a big win. There's still 5 things to do.
But don't add it until one falls off.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Plumbing and HVAC Hustle Podcast. And today I've got Jay and Amanda Mahaffey. How could I say Mahaffey?
Mahaffey, that's right.
You said it perfect, man. You're already great, Tim.
Out of Greenville, South Carolina. And we're talking about going from 4 million to 14 million at a 15% net, mind you. And they're scared that I'm going to say this out loud, because then they have to actually hit 14, which they will shortly.
We truly do anticipate.
We're talking about the no BS blueprint behind your guys' massive leap. Tuck and Howell. Where did that name come from?
So the Tuck name originated, of course, from my grandfather, George Tuck. The business originally was George Tuck Appliance Services in the 40s and 50s. And grandfather died. I never met him. He was in the appliance repair business, refrigerators, and ended up working on washer dryers, mostly air conditioning. And his son, Jerry Tuck, my uncle, really took to, heating, the heating side and the air conditioning repair, and partnered up with a high school buddy of his, Hayden Howell, and they got incorporated in 1969. My grandfather passed away, and like I said, I never met him, but they partnered up and named it Tuck and Howell. And they, in the 70s and 80s, dominated the Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina residential market, and kind of got into the commercial sector late 90s, early 2000s, and really dominated that commercial, light commercial market. Kind of still had that residential foundation and infrastructure, great customer base, but really was going for the commercial sector.
Yeah, we came in, I think it was 50% commercial, and now we're only 15% commercial. So we've really brought back the residential side. We actually drove by where it originally started, across from his mom's house, when we took a picture
started in the basement.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah. What a great story. Yeah, no, when you guys,
it's a legacy company, 2 men that owned a business and operated a business on a handshake. Nothing really exciting. No wives got divorced throughout that period. The business was not. Everything was literally on a handshake. You just don't hear of it. And when you say legacy company, it truly was a legacy company. Still is.
That's beautiful. I know when you guys took over, I mean, it's been kind of clicking and up to a new level, which obviously has its own headaches and all kinds of things to work through. But when you took it over, was there a moment that you guys thought, okay, we've got something special here?
Yeah, absolutely. And so to go back what you just said, it is still clicking, and that's the power of a family business. And that's the power of doing the right thing for all those decades.
Yeah.
So I just want to emphasize that.
It started clicking when I stopped having nightmares about covering payroll. I feel like I was like, okay, we got this. We're moving in the right direction. Because I'm not joking. I used to literally wake up and be like, oh my God.
I do want to go back for the listeners to the podcast that I was not here. I was an employee at another company. I did not grow up I grew up in the family business, but I left the family business when I was 19, and I worked for competition for almost 2 decades. and circled back and bought the family business from my uncle. My wife was an accountant for an accounting firm, and we circled back and bought this from my family. So we originally were not here. We were
what was your story?
We were. The story is that my uncle, well, he fired me twice, not once, but twice. And so, but I thanked him before he passed away. I said, the best thing you ever did for me was you fired me. He said, that's the most mature thing I think I've ever heard you say, Jay. I said, well, thank you. But he always wanted to pay me a lot less than I thought I was worth, but little did I know he was right the whole time. I just needed to shut up and listen to him. But I did end up getting a better paying job at a competitor. And he always asked me, how much you making over there, Jay? And I'd tell him, he'd say, I won't pay you that. Well, that's exactly why I'm not working for you, Jerry. But nonetheless.
This is great. I love the backstory.
Well, I went from install to service, and then I found out that if I would wear some khakis, I might be able to sell something. So I kind of dressed for the job I wanted, and I always wanted to be in that sales role. And so I started reading sales books and really started to trying to learn how to sell, and ended up making a career out of it. Sold for 10 years at a competitor down the road. I told my wife, I said, when I hit $4 million in residential sales, we're going to go start our own business. So I was telling my uncle, I said, hey, tell you what, I'm going to start my own business. He said, whoa, let's stop right there. I thought you was going to buy Tuck and Howell. I said, Jerry, I've been trying to buy Tuck and Howell for 5 years. You don't want to sell it? He said, yes, I do. I'm ready to go. Let's go. So that was in November of 22. In January of 2023, we struck a deal with the family to buy the family business. He died Easter Sunday 4 months later.
Oh my God.
But we had all of that ironed out, and so it's been interesting to say the least. The heating and air and the plumbing's the easy part. It's managing the people that's the fun part. So, but I love it. It's a challenge, and it's been great. We love it.
Last night, I think we looked at each other and we said, "Whoo-wee." Running a business has its days for sure. Yesterday was one of them. And so we've done really well. But like you said, it's not always rainbows and butterflies. It has days where you have like, geez, here we go.
Yeah, I think that I hope this podcast is a place where some people they feel like it can share the real stuff too, because I think it's so easy to come on these shows and kind of glamorize it. And I usually, when people talk to me about when I'm on other people's podcasts, I'm like, entrepreneurship, I'm so glad I did it, but I can't recommend it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I do not recommend it.
Yeah, I can't. Most of us won't fully survive. Like, there's tough parts. Like it's you make a lot of sacrifices, is what I'm getting at, right? And so I think everything we say is with that in mind. And then there's great days too, and then of course life-changing money, which can happen, and that's a beautiful thing, and it should happen for entrepreneurs. And I think what I love about you guys' story right now is that we're also at a healthy net profit, which I think we got to talk more about on these things, not just fancy revenue numbers. And then, I really appreciate you saying about the great foundation that you guys started on, the fact it was a family business that thrived by doing the right thing, and that there's customer base there that's untapped and things like that. That's really, really important, I think, for people to understand how this happens, how that quick growth happens. Like, put a match, which is a guy who knows how to sell, in play. So you did hit the 4 million thing before you
I did. And so I just, as you were talking now, realized I wanted to add one more thing to our story. Probably the most critical part of the story was this business was not doing well when we took it over.
No, it was a negative 11% net.
It was struggling. And, we had great jobs. It was massive risk for us to take on this opportunity. Being that, but the reward could be great, and that we're seeing that now. But you will miss every shot that you don't take. That cliche of saying that is ever so true. And so I had told Amanda, I had talked to my uncle. She said, great, let's see the books.
Let's see the financials.
Yeah.
I was like,
She was,
legacy company, here we go.
she looked at him, she's
beautiful.
like, take those back. We ain't doing that. I said,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely we were doing that. You know,
It was,
So
this is where
Amanda's the money person.
yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
And you're the sales guy.
That's
What
right.
what a great partnership you have there.
Yeah.
And so Amanda, where were you doing that at before?
So I was with a company called IGY. So I did the accounting for mega yacht marinas around the world. So I had two, one is at France, one in North Cove Marina in New York, and two and
Cocoa Bay? Was it?
two, I'm having a brain fart.
A bunch of them.
Yes.
And
so
you guys probably were living pretty cool because, I mean, $4 million sales or comfort advisor or whatever is like not going to be a low lifestyle, right? You guys probably you're living pretty cool.
Yeah.
We were traveling international and living pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was good at what he did, 100%.
Yeah. And
I was able to work remote.
Yeah.
So when we took that on, it was like we sold everything we had, liquidated 401ks, told the kids, you'll see mom and dad with no,
yeah.
Hey, that's real.
Like, Mom and Dad, why do people keep dropping food off at our door? What is going on? We used to go to restaurants, you know. What is this? Yeah. We like your old job, you know.
They did. They literally said that. But we knew it was a commitment.
It was.
At first, and we wrote a business plan and we said, okay, what items on this business plan are going to impact our bottom line, which was obviously the goal because you can't run a company with no money, right? The fastest. And we went through and identified them and
prioritized what will be the best for cash flow because we had 6 to 8 weeks left of payroll in the bank account.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, man. And we had 35 employees at the time. We have 7 to 8 original now, depending on, you know, who calls out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But, you know, and so we have about 60 employees now. So we had to come in and clean house. I had to make some tough decisions.
I think 5 of the originals, 6 of the originals?
Had some very rough sleepless nights, you know. Did not want to make some of those decisions, but we had to do what we had to do. It certainly was not personal. It was a business transaction at the end of the day.
Many homes suffer from inefficient HVAC systems due to leaky ducts, leading to uneven room temps, lost airflow, and higher energy costs. AeroSeal's innovative sealant technology targets and repairs leaks, improving airflow and efficiency. Increase your customer satisfaction, increase sales, and offer a unique market advantage. Become a leader in HVAC efficiency. AeroSeal.com.
And I mean, like, immediately hearing that you guys did make that a priority, like trimming, and that's such a tough spot, but like that is what makes or breaks companies, the ability to do that. And you hate to say it, and eventually you hope to get to a spot where you don't have to do that as much because you're making
That's right.
better
You're hiring better.
decisions. Yeah.
Well, another thing too, Tim, is, you know, we were basically on pen and paper and coming in and implementing ServiceTitan.
Yeah.
And having data to go on, like, really showed us some of our
weak spots
SOPs and immediate like that, and quick turnaround, head down, selling.
And we're still identifying them.
Yeah, still.
Give me 1 or 2 things where, like, the first year. So let's talk about that first year. I know that you had some, you know, your family as an adjustment, things like that. But what were some of the biggest holy crap lessons that you didn't see coming that hit in that first year of ownership, besides the ones we talked about?
For me, a holy crap moment was you are not going to be probably favored coming into a company and making drastic changes. And I was like, holy cow, this is a whole new aspect for me. Because I've always gotten along with everybody I've worked with. And so I was like, they do not favor me right now. But we brought in ServiceTitan, you know what I mean? We changed accounting softwares, we changed so much. So that was a big wowie moment for me. What was yours?
Well, mine was when I had about 7 people lined up at my door and we implemented ServiceTitan in the middle of
August 1st, we went live.
We went live in ServiceTitan August 1st. We also started plumbing August 1st. That very same day, a new accounting software. And I think like August 9th, I had 7 or 8 people, I don't know, maybe 9. I couldn't see the end of the line, so I lost count.
All holding iPads.
Hey, I can't get my call. My wife was not here. She was mostly the only one that knew how to fix all of their issues. And I'll never forget. I was like, put my head in my hands, and I was like, what the hell did I do? What did I do to this poor company?
Yeah.
We're implementing this ServiceTitan. They said it was the devil, right? No, it's great software. Love it. But holy cow, man, it's a beast on steroids. And so
pen and paper explicitly.
You have to have.
Oh, was that what it was before? Pen and paper?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's a big jump, not just
And
the
no
CRM.
one could go to their calls and it's business is booming.
It was middle of the summer.
Middle of the summer. I didn't have my ServiceTitan tech support here, right? And it was just like that was my moment.
Okay.
I was like,
I think another
I'll never forget that day.
I think another one was changing pay structures. That's always difficult to do as well when you come in and implement new pay structures or change things around. That was another moment where we're like, woo, we need to make sure we document this to a T, roll it out correctly, make sure we're covered with HR. So the HR and the pay change and stuff like that. One way to piss people off is to change their pay.
Oh, I bet.
Now the goal is everybody's making more, and they truly are.
Yeah.
But at first, that initial shift when you restructure stuff.
Well, restructuring, yeah. When you roll it out, you're like, guys, wait a minute. Just so everybody knows, this is a major pay increase.
Yeah. Okay. But people don't care. Like, when
right.
When it's different or it's incentive stuff, it's like, I always do that. I'm like, just so you know, very shortly, this is like literally just trying to get you up on more money for more, like, better work. Yeah. But it's not like there's but everyone kind of looks at you askance. Performance pay is so important, though.
They don't understand it. That's all it is. Yeah.
So we're learning and making sure to document on the HR side too. So, just all the different sectors.
Yeah, talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you guys are dividing roles as a couple running a company. What's kept it working? Has there been burnout and blow-ups? What is your division strategy here?
I enjoy working with my wife. I think that we have a really interesting dynamic because we're always together, so it doesn't really bother me working with my wife. And I think that we play off of each other's ideas really well. And I don't know, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think so. How we kind of tackle projects is
we're a beast working together.
Yeah, we're 100 miles an hour. I feel like sometimes our thing that we have to be careful with is not to burn people out because we have a project list. And one thing Jay's really good at is moving quick and making decisions quick and working on projects like that. And I think that's been a big part of the reason that we've been able to grow and make change so quick because he's so freaking quick. And sometimes I am like, Jesus Christ.
One of her strong aspects to the whole deal is that she thinks at every angle of the whole scenario. And I'm just like, I just find an idea and I just roll with it. She's like, hold on. What about this, and this? Let's cross our T's, dot our I's.
Yeah. I'm cross her I daughter, and he is.
Which I love that, but I take action. I take it fast.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, hold on, we can do it, but
But we run off a project list, and our ops manager, his name's Jeff Gothran, he's a super great addition to the team because we're super fast paced, and he's very structured. Does his Fab Five, which highly recommend, and Jay and I really work on trying to implement that too. Like work on 5 projects and don't move on until you've got your Fab Five because
his fabulous five, his five
yeah,
top, and
you
I
can work on
like that.
so many
Yeah, it's really good.
and spin, right? You can be working on so many different things. So I feel like that approach has been great. We divide and conquer. I kind of work with the accounting part, obviously, because that's my background. Jay's
Marketing
really
and sales.
marketing,
Yep.
sales, and
What's your guys' Fab
management.
Five right now?
Woo, sheesh! I got. Depends on which piece of paper I'm pulling out. But
We're really leaning into marketing a lot right now, just because we're not marketers. This goes
Yeah.
on sales, mine's accounting. So we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we have to have a marketing strategy. So
Yeah. I'm telling you guys this they ask you answer thing is gonna very like easily clarify things for you. It's going to slow it down and make it feel more like sales, which is gonna make Jay like it, and then it's gonna make everyone buy in because you need the sales leader to love it. And when it is about closing more deals, when the marketing starts there, then it easily rolls out to everything else and it gets bigger, but it starts at closing more deals because you could make videos now that will close you more deals. And that's a great place to start, I think, which is question that we've had 5 times in the last month on the sales process. Take our top closer and scale the best closer by making a video with them and demonstrating, and maybe there's an adventure to it. I like adventure and demonstration, and then you solve sorry, I'm going way into it. PAS, problem, agitate, solve. So we talk about the problem that they're having. We agitate it. Oh, why? By the way, this could be worse than This could lead to other things later. And then here's the solution, maybe a temporary solution. And then here's the actual deeper solution that we can help you with. It's really just starting with those questions and objections that you have in the sales process and turning those into videos. And by the way, there's an extra benefit of those can be used in training salespeople.
So when you say turn them into videos, you mean videos for marketing?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And the weird part is we realize so quickly, sorry, I'm kind of going off in this direction, but
No, I love it.
We realize so quickly how a lot of the objections stem around money. And so it's hard to talk about that in marketing, right? Like too expensive or whatever it happens to be. But the more we push into that discomfort in marketing, it preps us because if we actually talk about, these are the things that actually make us more expensive. There are reasons, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They're real reasons.
100%.
So when you talk about those a little bit more in marketing, people think that's going to scare people off because they're like, oh, you're talking about being a little bit more expensive and why? But it doesn't. It just is really attractive to the best kind of customers because they're like, I get it.
Agree with that.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's talk about it. The sales hallway says let's go ahead and address it now. That way we don't have to address it at the closing table. I'd rather go ahead and put it out in front of us and go ahead and get that out of the way. That way we can talk about what it's looking like doing business with us. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And making those uncomfortable problems that they're having a hard time overcoming marketing material.
Yep, you guys will like it. I think this strategy will be a really nice. And somebody recently said that I look up to. He said, "Content is marketing." So the fundamental core component of all marketing is some kind of content, and if you just get in the rhythm of making these videos, everything else can stem from there. So you could send those to the marketing company. The marketing company can turn those into blogs. You can have somebody else. You can have an offshore or remote employee or however. Make those into shorter form videos that can go on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and whatever else. So once you get that core piece, which is a they ask you answer video around a problem ideal customers have, you can break that out into 5 different directions.
Love that. I love that.
You asked about what's our Fab Five. Just top.
Yeah.
Some of the things and projects that we're working on right now is vendor managed inventory, getting essentially a vendor in here in our office, with their own store location number, their employees in here, because they're in the inventory business.
We aren't,
right? We're in the heating and air and plumbing business. So we're working on that. really trying to home in on, and of course, this is marketing should always stay on everyone's Fab Five, right?
That's our largest project.
It's one of our largest projects. Also, reducing credit card fees, lowering material and equipment price, negotiating best price, and Sales Pro. We're actually onboarding the
first,
kind of like the Reilla and Sales Pro.
And we went to Fleet Pro because what did Patrick, our pro advisor, say? Death by many cuts. Like if someone clocks in from their house, well, if you take someone clocking in from their house versus out your office, how many times death by many cuts? It kind of geofences.
I love
that.
And so analogy. Yeah. So implementing a couple pro products from ServiceTitan now. Yeah.
Perfect.
And CRM, we've got the lovely Angie Snow training our CRM team.
Amazing.
And it is going to be a game changer because I think that is a missing piece too that we are dealing with marketing and our...
You mean CSR?
Yes, I'm sorry. CSR team converting those marketed leads.
Yeah.
And so that's something we've identified in our call center, like, hey, we're spending a ton of money, but the conversions aren't what we need. And I think that, hey, if we miss one phone call of a new customer that's a marketed lead we paid for, and we follow up with them one time, they get a voicemail from us. If they call and for some reason our AI answers because everybody's on phones and they call back and we leave a voicemail and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
How much money are we how much is this truly costing us? So we're really working with our call center. We've got a bunch of big projects going on.
Yeah.
Well, I love this Fab Five idea.
So Reilla allows you to listen to, it's an AI in your pocket, listens to the appointment. It's pretty crazy what it can do. It gives a script, gives everything they said, it breaks down some statistics for you.
Analyze talk ratio, interactivity, like how you and I are interacting back and forth, longest modeling, like all those things.
This is the shit that I most believe in AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Enhancing the
You're
user
about to put
experience.
math and data around something that used to be my magic skill.
I think just to challenge the audience, turn it around, like what could be your Fab Five? How could having actual concentrated effort on 5 only, because we do so many things and it's a lot sometimes and we're not actually making meaningful impact. We're kind of jumping around it. And that's the nature of the beast sometimes, but I like this idea.
Yeah.
Well, too, it's okay for one of them just to be a to-do and one be another major, because at the end of the day, I know we all like, golly, I didn't do this, and this. It's okay. Roll it over to tomorrow, because these can be small wins and this be a big win. There's still 5 things to do.
But don't add it until one falls off. And Ellen Rohr, actually spoke with her yesterday. Her big thing that she says she takes from Al Levy. Can't remember. There's another book. She said, display your to-do list in office so people can see, like, these are our top 5 projects. And if they come to you and they're like, hey, we need a better tools process, or we need something, she said, let them know you're adding it to the list. It's going to be down on the list, but we got you on the list, and let them see that you're knocking projects out.
I like that.
And our team does. They really do see us knocking projects out, which I think lets them know that the business is moving forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're like, freaking heck, the business is moving forward fast.
Yeah.
Because we move so fast.
You guys have mentioned a number of small things that you've changed that had a bigger impact. But what's one other small thing that you changed in the company that had a surprisingly massive impact?
Making sure people were clocking out for their meal breaks.
Love that. Good one.
I pulled a report in ServiceTitan and I said, these people are taking meal breaks, but they're forgetting to clock out. And because they're busy, and I think truly a lot of them are truly forgetting. But I calculated it based on the average pay rate. And just in 3 months' time, it was like $63,000 that we were paying for. That was a meal break.
Yep. Any other ones?
By many cuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Any other ones?
One of my favorite is paying attention to just dispatch and diagnostic fee only reports. Like another scenario, $0 tickets, one of my favorite reports. Like, golly, I mean, Tim, PPC, what's the average cost of just average cost of a pay-per-click lead? What would you say it is this day and age? I know it's tough to say in each market.
I can't do that first day. Like,
tough.
I'm happy if it's under $100.
Yeah.
Okay, call it 100, call it whatever, but if we've already vested, we've put our tires in that customer's driveway, we've vested more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that $0 just kills the small business, right?
Yeah. And then, there's qualified leads, right? Because you like if 65% of them are qualified because there's a bunch of junk or whatever, like it's a whole thing. It's calculation.
Right. Yeah.
I just hate to throw a number out there because it's different for every market. We like to.
I know, and that's why I said I know
like
it's very tough to say.
If anyone ever wants to do it, I'll just throw it in here. We were happy to do an analysis for your market and actually look at the real data about what things are costing on average. If anyone ever needs an audit, I have to throw these things in there every once in a while. So I'm a fiduciary of my time as a podcast host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And data is king. I mean, that is how you make
So
decisions.
sifting through that data and paying attention to where you did not collect, you did not convert, you did not capitalize on that opportunity. Oh my gosh. If that's where you can really capitalize and change a lot of what you're doing around.
It's SOP too, because hey, if it is a $0 ticket, did you put your estimates on there? Did you build out your estimates? Did you offer a maintenance? Did you? It identifies where there's faults in the game. And one other thing that I think will make you happy because you're in marketing is so Jen McKee does our social media, and that was a huge game changer for us. And it was small. We just hired Jen McKee's, and she's like, hey, we need content. Well, bringing someone in-house part-time to capture
Sorry about that.
No worries. Bringing someone in-house part-time. We've got her name's Della Driver. She's great. If you look on her social media, you'll see her. She's super sweet. Is super creative. But it's marketing, right? And it's a different area that Tuck and Howell never had done marketing. Well, Tuck and Howell didn't do marketing before us, period. But literally, I'm not exaggerating. But she brings the social media side, and we hear so many employees or people that are coming out of these
prospective employees.
Trade programs that are like, we love your social media. We came here because of your social media. We have tons of customers that engage with it. And so bringing someone in part-time to capture our content was a big drive.
She's good.
She will sorry, I'm keep going back to the Ask You Answer, but she will like that book too.
Really?
Yes, because it's just a framework for types of content that it's just a nice nudge along, and it relates to sales. And she should be, one other opinion I have is it's good for her to be in the sales meeting. I don't know if she ever come to the sales meeting?
No.
I think that's a good way that she can get more context kind of quickly, even if it's once a month.
So she can learn it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
So we actually just had someone come in house and train us on all of the technical stuff, just high level, just so us and our social media team can get more in the know on what is a maintenance? What's a blower motor? What is a tune-up? We
had our CSRs take HVAC technical training because at the end of the day, if you think about it, they get to see what we're talking about, And
we're like,
it was, of course, low level, but
no, that's great.
You're like, thank you. We've always been wondering what is this capacitor you speak of, right?
Yeah.
And so
ants get in there. We learned that.
So you don't know what you don't know, and it's been real interesting. And
we'll have to bring Della into the sales meeting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
but you hit on some really good ones. Good for you.
Okay, so the next one we got. Who's someone on your team that stepped up in a big way, and what did that teach you about leadership?
Someone on our team that has stepped up in a big way. I would say
Lindsay has really, and we did not even ask her, she cares so much about the company, and the ones that you don't have to ask to care about it, and it's natural.
Yeah.
It really shows. And
she's our sales lead coordinator.
But also helps out in the customer service data analytics.
Marketing, we pull in our marketing meetings to see where it ties and the leads being converted and
booking rate. She'll listen to calls just while she's working on other things, like working on her sales lead coordination and just listening to just listening to calls in her earbuds. So
what has this taught you about leadership? What do you feel like you'd like to like duplicate out of this like excellence?
I think it shows you that people that can grow into leadership roles just naturally have it.
it's a natural, that's a natural knee-jerk reaction. Like, okay, no one else has got this. Tell you what, I feel comfortable. Give me the ball. I got it.
Let me come to you and present you information that I think might be helpful. I think that sets people apart, for sure.
Yeah.
What kind of pressure? Actually, I just learned I didn't wait until 1 second after. I need to wait 1 second after somebody finishes a sentence. Apparently that's that helps your sales. I'm not trying to sell you guys, but like
Angie Snow said the same thing the other day.
I'm sorry, I missed what he said.
So Reilla, I just had Reilla on the podcast, and they were talking about if you just wait 1 second after somebody comes. I think you guys naturally do this in the South, and us in the North, we're like really like kind of like trip over each other to say the next thing. And plus, we were Italian, and I had 4 brothers, so there's like we were barely getting to say anything during the day, so we just like talk.
Tim, I can't. I'm already having a hard time doing. I can't do it.
Yeah. 1 second apparently makes you like if you do that. Apparently, it makes you more likely. They were talking about how in the morning when people have had coffee, that sometimes their close rate just goes up naturally in the afternoon because they're actually like letting people finish.
Interesting.
That is super interesting.
Pause 1 second.
I told you, I'm like, bring a notebook in a meeting so you can write your notes down so you don't interrupt people because he has a really hard time.
I make sure I do it everywhere. Yeah.
Like, write your stuff down so people can finish talking.
Well, I am a student every day. That is one thing. And so I'm always like listening and trying to learn. And so what you just said, I've never heard that. It's an interesting deal.
Apparently the data says it. It doesn't mean I'm good at it. It doesn't. But I'm always listening when they're talking about these principles because I'm like, they're looking at huge, crazy data sets of like millions of, and I always like, whenever I have them on, I'm like, I try to ask these questions. They're like, what have you guys been learning from the data? Because it's crazy because there's always a good lesson in there. Taking over a family business. I've got 2 more questions here. This is the second to last one. Taking over a family business is pressure, I'm sure. There's probably like people looking at you guys like from the family or even the people that have been around. And I know that you went through some lumps with all this stuff and challenges. How did you handle that emotionally and mentally? Like, how did you get through? How did you handle it?
We just bulldozed through it because there wasn't one.
I think we have just been so busy. We have not had time to sit and think about the impact that it has had on us. We've always, Amanda and I together, not just myself, I really feel that whole cliche of the yin and the yang. We got it, man. We just, when something happens, like pivot, right? And so you have to be okay with it. Mm-hmm. Tim, the other day I came home and I went straight to the water spigot, right at the house, went straight to go get some water, and it was just bone dry. And I'm like, okay, well, guess what?
This was our son's first day in installs.
Yeah. So
granted, so he's at home butt naked in the shower with insulation over it.
He goes to get in the shower. He's working HVAC install. He goes to get into the shower and he's like, we don't have any water. And I went to the water. I'm like, yep, clearly we don't have any water. And so I'm like, his first day on the job, we don't have water. I'm like, oh, okay.
We forgot to pay
our water bill, right? And so the reason I'm telling you this is like, if that like really bothers you,
don't go into business.
Yeah. Well, my credit card expired, right? And so it was the only one on file. And like they had been trying to call me. If I answered all of my phone calls every day and answered all my texts and email, I would not literally get anything done. Mm-hmm. So my point of saying this is just like, you got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to roll with stuff.
Yeah.
And so we have not really had time to sit around and talk about the impact that the business has had on us just because we're so busy with and change. And you can't do at what you do in 4 million and what you do 7 million. You got to do something different at 13 million than you're doing at 7. And the business is constantly changing, and you have to listen to the business's needs. And we're just always constantly busy and changing something.
Well, and I think too that when we came in, a lot of people didn't know the company wasn't doing good. They were just working here because they weren't open with the stuff, because he actually didn't even look at financials. He was just old school. They quoted jobs. They looked at job costing. And that was it. So I don't think that there was a lot of awareness of the place that the company was in. And so we came in and we said, hey, guys, we are making these changes because if we don't, the doors are shutting. There will be no Tuck and Howell. And so I think that we came in and we kind of had to be very open and transparent with the reason that why we were making change and why we were making change so fast, because it allowed to give us some grace. And I think that people thought we were crazy. And I remember I have an email. I save all of our documents from like when we write anything, I save them all for like a little notebook, because we look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, remember when we were in this place and we were like really stressed out?
Yeah.
Just really survival mode. And I remember typing up an email to Jay's family, letting them know like when we were coming into the business, because they were like, I think kind of on the fence of us coming in and purchasing the company. And I said, this is Jay's background. This is my background. This is
making sure that it was put into the right hands, right?
Right. And I was like, we've got this. So, I mean, we've dealt with kind of like, hey, they've never run a business before they were employees. We've been employees our entire career. Like, are they going to be able to truly do this? And so believing in ourselves, we've really had to lean on that, because people don't know. They're not familiar with all the changes that we're making. All of this is new to everybody, because anybody that's been in the company is not used to any of this. So I told Jay, I said, they think we're crazy as hell making all these changes, but they've really been able to trust the process because you see the benefits that the company has reaped. And yesterday, I actually came into Jay's office this morning because, like I said yesterday, it was a hard day for me, just because I think I was just marketing. I'm trying to learn marketing. That's a foreign language to me. And I came in and I told Jay, I said,
super intimidating if you don't know it.
Yeah. So we're really trying to structure our marketing, have a strategy, right? Because after so much in revenue, you have to be super strategic with each department. So we're being super strategic with marketing, but it's hard because we don't freaking know it. So we're trying to learn it and know the questions to hold people accountable for that is over our marketing. And I came in his office today and I heard something on TV last night and I was like, you know what? We've always had this in our head. You only live once. Don't let fear prevent you from making big, scary choices. You literally only live once. I don't want to be on my deathbed and be like, gosh, I wish we would have done that. And we're both really big. I think to buy a business, you have to be really good at taking chances. And we're both really good at jumping and growing our wings on the way down.
Yep. I think that's the like secret sauce that no one can tell you whether you have when you start a business or take over a business, is like, do you have the grit? Can you build the parachute or the wings on the way down? And those are tough, but I think you guys have the exact right 2 skills necessary, like sell a lot and count your money and actually make a profit, right? Like those are basically the 2 skills like required, as long as you can get the work done. And there's a bunch, but like leadership, right? But there's like, of course, you guys have what it takes. You guys are those people. I have no doubt. I know that you guys are already winning at the level that you're winning at.
Saying that.
The only thing I worry about for you guys is just to stay humble, because I know you're going to keep winning. I know you're going to keep the next 10 years is going to be astronomical in whatever way that you want it to be. So I just know you guys got to stay humble, because you're cool. You're cool as hell right now. I'm just going to be honest. You're cool as hell. And the business requires
Well, we have
humility right now,
teenagers
but
that
as
keep
time
us
goes on,
very
you won't.
humble.
Let's say that again.
Right. Yeah. We have teenagers that are giving us a reality check. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah,
That'll
I
always
agree.
keep
It
you humble.
does. Yeah, you're right. You too with a successful company and reaping benefits of making really tough decisions and stuff. You're exactly right.
Tim, we know, this could all be taken from us
Yeah.
tomorrow. And so we're very thankful for this opportunity. We can continue to provide the best solution to all of our customers' needs. And that is our job at the end of the day, to provide the best for our customers. That's why we give options and not ultimatums. And so we're just doing God's work out here. Oh, sorry, our office cat jumped up here.
And what's the Africa's cat name one more time?
His name's Marvin.
Marvin.
We have two office cats, Marvin and Margaret. So
Marvin had to be on. He had to be on here. He knows you guys are going to be successful. I like you guys. I think you guys are awesome. You guys are very charming together. Well, you guys are such a cute couple, and I'm rooting for you guys.
Years.
Been together 18 years. Yeah.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys being on. Where can
Greatly
people
appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people check out Tuck and Howell on the internet?
Yeah, tuckandhowell.com.
Yep.
Check us out. We're LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook,
TikTok.
Yeah, we got some
Might
pretty cool
see
stuff
us
out there.
doing some dances on TikTok. You'll see our cats up there.
Yeah, actually, Marvin's got his own Instagram.
No.
Where can people go check that out? That's important.
Marvin Tucking Out. What is the Instagram?
Oh gosh.
We'll put it in one of the links on this video.
Marvin's Instagram will go in the show notes. Appreciate everyone for watching. The podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency all over social media. Appreciate you guys for being on. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.